for joining us at this event. The theme for TiECon Mysuru is sustainability and scalability. Hearing from a number of speakers about the importance of knowledge, and innovation, insight, and flexibility in helping an entrepreneur in their journey to scale. We'll also hear a lot about sustainability. Is sustainability just about growing the business and accessing more funding, or does it also have a social dimension to it? In this context, it is my pleasure to introduce TiECon Mysuru's inaugural keynote speaker, whose checkered journey incorporates both aspects, scale and sustainability. Dr. Ajay Kumar, who is the founder and executive chairman of Healthcare Global Enterprises, followed his passion for healthcare by moving to the US to learn from the best in the field of oncology. At an early age, even while honing his skills in cancer care, he decided to give back to society by helping set up a not-for-profit cancer care hospital in our own Mysuru. While the not-for-profit gave him insights about the lay of land in India, the challenges which are faced by people in accessing quality healthcare, and based on that learning, his entrepreneurial instinct kicked in to complement his professional experience to set up HCG as a self-sustainable entity, which would also offer cutting-edge cancer care. To realize his vision of providing care at scale, Dr. Ajay Kumar innovated and various business models and finally perfected the art of the hub and spoke model with which HCG currently operates. As HCG scaled and grew, Dr. Ajay Kumar did not lose focus about the need for supporting the citizens of Bharat, not only the area of cancer care, but also in addressing various developmental issues in which he actually helped donned a philanthropic hat to set up NGOs as well as support other NGOs. All in all, a journey which began with humble intent has grown and scaled and become a giant today. As I request him to grace the stage, Dr. Ajay Kumar, I will also request you to obviously give us insights from your book and also give us insights from your life journey about resilience and how that has helped you into scale. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Ajay Kumar to the stage.
Ellargu namaskara. Very happy to participate in this meeting and thank you very much, Mukund. In case you. And it's really an honor to be here today at the TIE function. And as I reflect on entrepreneur journey, particularly in healthcare, look at, I have to take you back to year, probably most of you were not born, talking about 1975, when situation in India was somewhat different. As we grew up and finished our medical college, always the issue was, what kind of a doctor you want to be? What is the ecosystem here providing for you? We never had any knowledge about what it is to be an entrepreneur. And it is only about what we can really do, give back to the society. Being a doctor, we always think about how do we go to rural areas work. But we also have the internal compulsion for higher learning. And when you know that it is not easy to go abroad, and when the green card comes home, in 1975, after passing an exam, it is very tempting to go. And we all go there with the intention of, let us say, being whatever specialty we want to do. We all want to think of coming back. But as you know, very few people come back because the opportunities are so much there. Of course, the living standards may be better. All of this compels you to stay. And as time goes on, you get married, you have children, and you say, for children's sake, I can't come back. So a lot of things we do encounter as practical difficulties. So what I would like to take you through is, what does it really, when do you become an entrepreneur? When do you look at entrepreneurship? What are the hurdles of entrepreneur, particularly when you look at healthcare, and particularly in the time when there were difficulties to do certain things in India? So as I finished my training, and one of the few statements I want to make before I go further is in an oncology is like anybody else. Even after 45 years, I can never claim to be an expert in oncology. Because every time we look at a patient in oncology, we learn more, we go deeper and deeper. Like, what I also like to quote, a quote from Socrates, when he was asked why he was chosen as the wisest man by Oracle of Delphi, he said, because finally Oracle has realized that I have realized how little I know. So, even as an entrepreneur, the journey is as you go deeper into it, you begin to realize how little you know. And nobody can really be an expert on anything, particularly nowadays, as we fast forward with so many things moving on. And particularly in the field of oncology, every 26 days, the oncological care is changing rapidly because of, various things, better knowledge, genomics, and proteomics. So much of understanding is coming, precision medicine and all. So when you go back, when I talk about excellence has no borders, when I finished my training, I was at half mind whether to come back. And in fact, I came in 1975 after finishing my training. I had an opportunity to stay there at MD Anderson. When I came to India and looked at it, and unfortunately, it was not a welcome situation. A lot of things were in public sector, private sector was not there, particularly in healthcare. And it was not very inviting, even the government sector. So I decided, rather than be at MD Anderson, let me learn the ropes of how to start a center in US and learn the nuances of being a oncologist with our own center. So outside of Chicago, I started a center. But one of the things I found, again, talking about excellence as no borders, it was about 99.9% white population. And within 1 year, the patient load grew so much. I don't know where they were. I was seeing 150 patients a day. And it becoming very difficult. I had to get in partners. So when I got in partners, I realized what is the condition I should put for partner? Because my heart was always to do something back here. So I told them every 3 months, 3 months a year, I have to spend in India. So with that, I started my journey in the 1980s, early 80s of looking at India. And first thing I did was travel by train across India to look at 6 months I took off. What is the situation of oncology? At that time, in oncology space was going through a lot of transformation. We were treating cobalt units, which was a very inferior form, while the world was changing over to linear accelerators. One of the things was India was still cobalt, and common reason given was that we are a poor country. That is what I wanted to challenge. I said, look, cancer doesn't know poor from rich. Cancer is very unforgiving. When you have cancer, it doesn't say, he's a poor man, let me be soft on them. Somebody is rich, let me go hard, they can spend more. There is only one way of treating this disease, right way the first time. So particularly when you use inferior form of treatment, the treatment itself was causing more side effects than the disease. So we had a lot of people and patients saying, I would rather not even take treatment because, if you cobalt, you treat somebody in a pelvic area, you get a lot of bladder symptoms, rectum symptoms. We have seen all that in the years. So that was a challenge I took. I remember going to Madhya Pradesh center where a kid was waiting with abdominal tumor for 12 hours to take a broken down cobalt treatment. I then realized this is something the government cannot really do. And then the thought came, what? As a doctor, I should do something as a non-profit and name it as Bharat. Let us see. That is how Bharat Hospital, but it was not easy. For some of you are Mysoreans, I have to tell a little bit of a story. When I started looking at Bharat Hospital here in the year 1986-87, I like anybody else, great deed. I want to start a hospital. Here is the money I pay, give me land. They said, what land? For what? Then went through the mill. And finally, they allotted 18 acres on Nanjangud Road. And I said, I'll build. Suddenly, one day I was abroad. I got a call from here. The city corporation has occupied the land. They don't want to give. So I came back. And then I had a runaround. They said, you have to go here, meet this Muda chairman, this chairman. In all honesty, I ran. I never realized that it was corruption which was the problem. I remember my friend Giri telling me, if you pay them off, they will all agree to give you 18 acres. I said, not 1 rupee, not over my dead body. Even today, that land is why not allotted, and the money I gave has not even come back to me, for your information. So anyway, that is, but there was one Mr. Murthy, who was additional chief secretary. I told him with frustration, I called him, Mr. Murthy, I'm really frustrated. He said, don't worry. When are you leaving to US? I said, 2 days from now, you come here. And it was a great thing. He said, here is in industrial area, a lot. And then he gave me a few acres of land, but it was outside Mysuru. Today it is, of course, on near the, on the road to Mysuru road, in the Ring road. But all I can say is at that time, it was pretty deserted. But again, I said, it's okay. People said, who will come for cancer treatment? I said, doesn't matter. We got the land, let us do. Then when the building was done, another challenge I faced. The electricity board said, I will not give you electricity. I said, why? You have to pay us bribe for a crystal. I said, no, not over my dead body again. So 75,000 for 1 year I ran on a generator, saying I will not. Finally, they got tired and gave me the crystal. So what it shows is the learning curve for me was you have to have value systems and you have to stick to values as an entrepreneur. Doesn't matter. The path is more important than the goal. And that is the key thing for anybody. For me to get up in the morning and think I am on the right path is the most important. And as we move on, I think there is a tendency to take shortcuts. People always tell me, sir, what is it? I want to make sure I get this. Let me just bribe something. But I don't think that is the path any entrepreneur should take, in my view. Because at the end of the day, you will win the war. You will do what you want to do, provided you stick to it. And after this Mysuru episode, I said, okay, as a not-for-profit, one of the drawbacks is you have to go with a begging bowl to everyone. I'm doing this great job, please give me money. We all come from middle-class families. We don't have a very wealthy father-in-laws or so. So in that case, we have to earn our own. So with all this, I said, okay, let us see what we can do on our own. While Mysuru Hospital is doing good, it's one of the best centers here, comprehensive. Thought about what can we do for the entire country in terms of hub and spoke model, Ranchi or Gulbarga or, Angol, Nasik. We have to come together if you want to establish. So I asked the Canadian government once, I wrote a letter. How is it you make cobalt unit only serving the developing country, but not a single Canadian gets cobalt because it's an inferior form? Why? They couldn't answer. So it is very clear that we have to challenge, like excellence is no borders, where people came from 100 miles, even though I was not a white man. Why can't we challenge and say, why can't we bring in the highest possible technologies to all parts of India and make it viable? Is it possible? And create a for-profit in that. Now, when we talked about this area, of course, investment, capex heavy, you have advisors who come and tell you, this is very capex heavy. Where is my ROI, return on investment? What are we going to do? I said, that's all BS. Let's first do what we want to do. Then let us see how to attract investors. Now, I want to make a statement. Today in India, in spite of the government, India has progressed in a lot of things. And, health is an important part. And I'll make some statements. These are all my personal statements. And education. And whatever India has progressed today is largely because of the private enterprise. There's no two ways about it. And when you look at the private equity involvement, which there are in a way unsung heroes, they may be saying, I want 18% return, 20% return. But in spite of that, they have contributed a lot. An outstanding example is our own HCG. When in 2006, we put together a plan from the help. I am not an expert in all this, so I had some help. but I learned a lot when we went to the private equity that I have a cancer scenario in India. They said, what cancer? And in Week magazine, I remember the least profitable said was cancer. They had cardiology, orthopedics and all that. So I said, where is it? If you want to do multi-speciality, you do. I said, look here, I know how to do only what I'm an expert in. I am not a serial entrepreneur or an entrepreneur just to say, okay, build it and to make whatever solid money. But I want to go into the depth of what I know, my knowledge. If I'm oncology only. And fast forward 15, 18 years, even though we had an opportunity to do other things, HCG is mostly stuck with doing oncology only because that is when the expertise comes. I always like to give an analogy to the investor group who ask me questions. Why not multi-speciality? Maybe more profitable. I say, you go to multi-cuisine restaurant. They have dokla, dosa, pizza, everything. Can that be extraordinarily good? Normally not. They'll be average because they can't make everything. But if you go to a pizza place only, they'll be likely to be damn good. Or go to an Italian. So that is what we are. We are like a pizza maker. We do what we know. And for the entrepreneurs, I want to send a message here. It is very easy for you to develop some technology and what you're good in, and when you sell it out, you make a lot of money. And you want to go into other areas which attracts financially better. I think that is, in my view, personal view, is a wrong approach. You actually should encourage people who are an expertise in that to be a promoter and fund it so that they grow in that, in the expertise they know. This is what I feel is the right way to do. It is a very personal opinion. And I will give an expert advice on this, what Mr. Premji did. In 2007, Mr. Premji called me because we deal with Wipro, GE and all equipment. I thought he had called me to do some discussion about how we can collaborate Wipro, GE and HCG in equipments, a few things, life science. But first thing he said is, I have heard about your transparency ethics. Of course, from the market, they know how we buy equipments and all, because there are various ways of buying equipments, as you know. People always come and say I will create some extra charge on the equipment, how you can make money. This is all known at that point, very common. Even companies, big multinationals used to do this bribery. So he said, we know about you, transparency, I want to invest with you. Even though I didn't need, I accepted it for one reason. People like him could have started their own hospitals, could have done their own. But he decided to support a promoter who had the vision in oncology to do something. So that is why I accepted. But to make it very short, with the private equity of few investments, we grew rapidly from early 2000 to 2014-15. And of course, the exit comes, you have to give exit. But one of the things I want to do with partnerships we had with doctors, one of the other areas we innovated, which is again a message for maybe entrepreneurs, is to understand what your strengths are. And based on that, how do you cover your weakness? Even Mr. Premji once told me that, at his house, at the party, he said, called me to us and remember, always surround yourselves with people who are more brighter than you. I twisted it a little bit and said, always surround myself with people who cover my weaknesses. We are not perfect. There is nothing like a perfect human being. I want to know who is a perfect human being here. I don't think there is anybody, but I would like to know if there is. But all I want to say is, we have our own deficiencies. When we introspect as an entrepreneur, when we understand who we are, what, like for example, I cannot be a mathematics professor. I cannot be an economics professor. So what do? I get somebody as a partner who is good in that. So together we become one entity, two sides of the coin. With that, I think, we were able to grow. And by the way, when we started this venture, another thing about challenge is there were a lot of naysayers. I remember the director of Tata, very good friend of mine, Dr. Dinsha, is telling me, Ajay, you will never succeed. People get tired of doing one hospital. How can you do multiple, so many, particularly in a dedicated field like oncology, focused approach. Oncology will never, because there will be multi-specialties doing oncology. I said, doctor, I love that statement of yours. He said, what do you mean? That challenge is what I want. When you say you cannot do, it is what I will do. So I took it up and put together a lot of time, effort, put a plan, hub and spoke. And today I'm very happy to say in 2000, apart from giving all the 6 people who got good exits, they are very happy people in the field of oncology, they got exit. And, it may be very small, some fews, but from a revenue of 15-20 crores when first investors came in 2006-07, we are almost reaching 2,000 crores of revenue over the years. It is, but some minds it is not billions, but it is something in a field of focused oncology we were able to do. And we also listed this company. Why did I list is another thing. I am not a serial entrepreneur. There are people who came and said, Doctor, we'll give you this valuation. We will combine with other things, multinationals, nationals and all. My only answer was very simple. Look, I am not here for that. I want to make oncology focused, sustainable model so that we can do the right treatment for the patient and get the right outcome, irrespective of the socioeconomic condition. So with that in mind, I decided to go public rather than share to anyone. And again, the public has been a yo-yo effect for us, ups and downs. It's not been easy. But at this point, what I would like to say is public has issues. But why go public as an entrepreneur when you have an opportunity? Why? I think my reasoning was simple, that right or wrong, nobody can destroy this company, hopefully, because there is such a thing as public listed. There are rules, regulations, minority shareholders, all of this taking into mind. I thought this could become, as we move forward, MD Anderson or so where I trained, but with a difference. MD Anderson is only one center. When we ask them, why are you not multiple center? They say, we cannot replicate the same quality across all the world. So they have remained as one state-of-the-art center. Sloan Kettering in one center. There are only few centers like this in the world. But the idea was in India, because accessibility, affordability, travel, and so many issues are there, can we use the technology and use the virtual, virtual tumor boards, virtual hospitals, virtual, a lot of things, even mixed reality. Can we create something like that in a high quality, whereby multiple centers could be as good or better than equal to some of the major centers in the world? With this in mind, I decided to go public. And so far, of course, there is, with ups and downs, it has worked out well. The future is, of course, the jury is out for the future, whether this is a sustainable model or not. But at this point, I want to say a few words about how oncology focused factory approach helps. When Harvard Business School came and did 5 years in a row study for us, and when they asked me, when I was giving a lecture a few years ago, pre-COVID, one of the things they asked me is, of course, multi-speciality. And the second thing asked me is about models. How do you create models? I said only one thing. You do a study among your 130 students you have in HBS. They were all sitting there. Which model works the best? Heuristic model or, doing all these models by MBS? Which model do you think works best? Heuristic approach means you have a passion for certain things as an entrepreneur. You feel you do. People say, do a market survey, do this survey, go and talk, do all this. But on the contrary, here, heuristic approach is where, hey, I feel this model will work because I know the subject. I want to put one center here, XYZ. I want to develop this. Which model do you think works best? Can anybody give me an answer? Heuristic approach or creating models based on finances, market survey, and other things. In the long run, if you take 20 companies each and look at it. But heuristic approach is what works the best. And you look at India today, when you look at healthcare, which are the ones which have done the best? You look at doctors-led hospitals, chains, are the ones which are doing extraordinarily well. And why? What is the difference between a doctor-led and the non-doctor? I will also like to explain to you. Like I am also practicing, I see advanced and recurrent tumors in my clinic with a team. So when a patient comes to you and you say, like this was the basis of Harvard study also, cross subsidy, you say you have a person with a brain tumor, you need to give certain, like a cyberknife therapy and all, which may cost 4-5 lakhs or more. If it goes to an administrator who is a non-doctor, the most they will say is, if they can't afford, they say is, I can give you 10%, 20% off or something like that. Otherwise, you can go. But if it is a doctor-led initiative, it's totally different. There is no way in the world I will say, I will do this and let you go. If it has to be free, come at 10 o'clock in the night and do free. That is what we are used to. We don't publicize it. We don't talk about it. But the amount of semi or real free care we do is unbelievable if you look at our records. Because that is what no patient should be turned away. And that is the main difference between a doctor-led initiative and a initiative, or the hierarchy is such it is administrators who are taking the decision. At the end of the day, we as doctors or any entrepreneur has to decide, has to go back and think one thing. This is a message I want to send to you. Why did I start this company? Why? It could be IT, it could be healthcare, it could be turbine, it could be anything. You should always think, why did I do this company? And that ethos you have to stick to. So when I look at it, why did I do HCG? To bridge the gap for cancer patients, make sure they get the right treatments. I should never forget, I should never compromise. There may be investors pushing, there may be stock prices pushing you, but you should never yield to that, because why you started is very important. If you started to make money, that's fine. As long as you know, your conscience knows the best answer. Your conscience says, hey, I did this to make multi-billion dollars, fine. You are answerable to that, you are click. But never forget why you started and keep that in mind. Do not compromise your conscience when you come to why you started what you do, and stick to what you know the best. That is what I feel, and never deviate from this. Now, coming to the actual cancer care and what happens today, what are the challenges you face? It's very clear, unlike in US, where majority have insurance, majority have covered, you can do pretty much what treatment you want. But India is phenomenal. And the intelligence in India is unbelievable. As I always say, there are people from India who are bright here who started phenomenal companies. And there are people who have gone abroad who run, Microsoft, Google, Adobe, IBM, just to name a MasterCard, so many companies, Indians. Indian doctors are well known. Even Harvard Medical School were headed by Indian ones, Indian origin. So what does that tell you? We are damn good. Our IQ is damn good. We can compete anywhere in the world. And as doctors, one of the things I tell them also is, you are damn good. You are now. So just to give you some analysis, we did analysis of MD Anderson versus us, HCG, Bangalore, which is our center of excellence, breast cancer. What is the 5-year, 10-year survival rate? I can tell you, it is audited by outside called THP. We are equal, or in triple negative, which is a subset, we are actually better than MD Anderson 5-10 years ago. So very clear, we have the capabilities. We don't have to look at the West and follow. And unfortunately, in healthcare, there is very little research. In pharma also today, there is very little research. We are copycats. What do we do? Because we don't spend money. Somebody founds an immunotherapy drug. We wait for it to go off the patent and do a generic. That is not what we are. That is not what our capabilities are. We have to go into research. And in healthcare, we have so much of data, unbelievable amount of data, head and neck and others. If only we streamline the data and look at it and analyze it and then become great in academics, research, publications, we could be the leaders. If it could be a totally developed country in medical field. We have the infrastructure, we have the technology, we have the doctors, knowledge, outcome, everything. But why is it lacking? Because we have become followers of the West. All the doctors say, Where is the, if I try to do something new, the standard answer from the doctors is, well, there is no evidence. Man, evidence is a moving target. What was not an evidence 5 years ago is an evidence. Can't you be the person to create evidence? Dr. Gopinath, can't you be the person under whom it runs? Why you have to go Dr. Tesla? Why you have to go Dr. somebody else? But that concept is lacking. Maybe because of the medical college training, maybe because of colonization, maybe because of so many things. Maybe we are not in the West. Same doctor going to West will become phenomenal. Why? What is choking the system? It has to be unchoked. And we have put a committee, we have put a team to do this. But collectively working is also absent in India today. That is a matter of a story for some other day. But all I would like to say is, it is time. We have the infrastructure today. We have phenomenal people. It is time for us, which is what we have taken up in the field of genomics. We are now becoming leaders. We have one of the largest genomic data with us. We are now putting into that AI system. How do we create artificial intelligence to this? How do we look at Indian genomics? Because most of the people we treat today are based on Western protocols, Caucasian. What is it for Indian? For example, in head and neck cancer, we found in our cohort, 38% of the patients have genomics which are never seen in the world. In African patients, we get, in brain tumor, we see certain genomic, this thing which has never been reported in the world. So ethnicity matters a lot in type of treatment. Do they require the same dose? Do they require a different dose? How do we manage them? We cannot be just followers anymore. We have to take this up in a different way, for which we are encouraging a lot of doctors. We have research fund now. We want to take it to a new level. So suffice to say here, I know there's some need for question and answer session also in the next few minutes. So I would like to end my talk here saying that an entrepreneur has to really reflect, has to look at why he started, why he or she started this, and on the path, take the right path. No shortcuts. Shortcuts will always come back to haunt you. You have seen this with various ways. You have seen this, for example, for, quote, Fortis hospitals and all. What happens when you try to take shortcuts? Look at the examples, go the right way. And I think winner or loser is not measured by succeeding. I told my wife, in 2000, when I said I'm moving to India and from Boston, I remember waking her up at 2 o'clock and saying, I am going to India now. I have done something. I want to go. And of course, they all came with me. I said, I can lose everything. The risk is too much. I can lose my shirt. I can become a coolie in the Bangalore. Those who know Bangalore, I grew up in Bangalore. I know Kalasapalayam, which is where I can become a coolie. I said, we have to be prepared for that as an entrepreneur. There is nothing like entrepreneurs saying, I want to make sure my family is well, everybody is well, then I will jump into it. That is not an entrepreneur spirit. That is safety net. You have to take out the safety net, do what you think is the right, jump into it the right way. And there, by jumping itself, you have succeeded. There is no measure of this thing. In this regard, I want to say, I know Mukund talked about my NGO. In this NGO, we have about 105 villages in Gundalpet. We are working for several years. Self-help group. Financially, they have improved a lot. Leadership training. So for this election in Gundalpet, I am supporting a lady who is a self-help group lady. She is trained to be a leader now. We have trained her, and she is standing as an independent candidate from SC, ST to challenge the system. And now she may not win. Win is not the issue. At least create a challenge. She will not accept any bribe. She will not defect. All of this has been done, and I'm waiting to see whether these will be followed, because there is so much negativism today. Anybody says election means money has to spend. Anybody says anybody can be bought. That is not true. Everybody cannot be bought. There are people who will stand up, and it is time when they come together, that is when we can change this country. This country, 1% of the population controls 40% of the economy. What about the rest? How do we bridge the gap? You cannot bridge the gap unless people who are right stand up for it and look after it. We cannot be afraid of what happens to us. One day I was talking on the phone, a Z television. I got a call from the government. How can you talk against the government? Some secretary. I said, why not? No, if you have an issue, you should talk to us. No, I will talk openly. What can you do? I think this fear is also set in nowadays, which is another issue. which has to be debated and talked about. I know people are afraid, but that's okay. Unless we talk and massively we do, I don't think the system can be changed. We are a secular country. We want to be a secular country. We have to work on this to bridge the gap. Thank you very much.
Wonderful insights, and especially
You can come here.
is this better? Thank you. Great insights on the value of focus, the value of ethics, and also being true to your stakeholders, being true to your vision. We have time for about 3 questions here. I have a question, but I'll keep that question for myself for now, allowing the audience to come through. If anyone here has a question, please put up your hand and we'll get a mic there. Over there.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, sir, for the wonderful speech. So it was very motivating and encouraging all of us, knowing about your story, journey, about how SCG Cancer Hospital has started the journey and doing now. So my first question is, it's like, how do we come out of the fear of failure? Like, I started a PR agency recently. And, every time this comes, like, I reach to a certain point where I can convince the clients to get them on board. And somewhere, like, deep in my heart, like, I get a fear, like, whether I can able to get the enough promotions for them, stories coverage for them. And, before accepting them, like, I get that fear. Although, like, for the existing clients, I'm doing pretty well for, like, some of my clients, like, and they appreciate about our work. But still, like, when I want to upscale myself, company, I get that fear, like, I might fail or, I don't know how to put across in a context.
If I understand your question is, you feel a little bit uncertain about how to make sure the client succeeds. Is that what it is?
Yes, sir.
No.
A little like.
I think it is the, like I said, the confidence you have in your specialty, in your in-depth knowledge. If you're confident about it, and if you have a certain ability how to brand it, market it, you will succeed. I don't think there is any issue. But again, as the old saying goes, failures are a success stepping stone to success. A few failures should not dishearten you. As long as you stay on track. And we have been through, all of us have been through that failures. And a failure is an important part. In my view, experience, like I would like to celebrate failure also. In India, unfortunately, when you don't celebrate failure, you're beaten down. I think we need to celebrate failure also. That is what is important. You have to understand why I failed, what happened here, and learning lesson from that. Like, in oncology also, we do mortality review, recurrence review. All the failures from that we learn. Our mortality, 7,000 discharges was 3.4 3 years ago. Now it is 1.4. Why is it? Because we learned from the failures. Why? What next to do? What should not I do? I think that is all the lesson advice I can give you. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks. Yes.
And please keep the question short. No need for, you can introduce yourself, but
absolutely.
No need to summarize.
I will respect the time. Good evening, and thank you so much for being here. My name is Naveen Yeri. I head up artificial intelligence for Wells Fargo, an American bank in Bangalore. One of the values that you mentioned is being the specialist in the oncology sector. And from a AI standpoint, I see that machines are talking to the customers more in a banking sector. And I presume machines and intelligent systems will be talking more and more with patients as well. Are you changing your direction a little bit that there has to be human element that will continue to serve patients? Or do you let machines take over a little bit more than ever?
No, there is no question. Machines are a complement to human knowledge and all. It cannot. When every 26 days knowledge is changing, the way cancer behaves, the genomics, the mutation, I just want to tell you that Vinod Koslav is a very well-known investor once told me at a meeting in Washington. I gave my talk. After that, he gave his talk. Before that, while we were coming out of the dais, he said, "Doctor, remember in 10 years, I'll run you out of business. By just breathing, I can detect lung cancer." 10 years have gone by. Nothing has happened. So all I can say is machines are there and they are there for you to use. But when you look at complexities of the disease like cancer, cancer is also smart. I can go on for hours talking about it. As you treat, they also change. New mutations happen, new things, new resistance. So for machine to analyze this and all, it becomes very difficult. So machine is a complement. You use it for initial, like why did Watson fail? Watson was an utter failure because they took 1 million cases from Sloan Kettering and they created a protocol and said for everybody to treat like this. No way. It did not. MD Anderson spent 60 million and closed it afterwards. So it won't work like that. A machine can be used to enhance your knowledge, enhance the way you treat, maybe better analyze and do, but you have to do proper bucketing, proper way, where human is the best computer they have in the world. There's nothing to bet humans. So we are going to be masters. Machine cannot be our masters.
Well said. Thank you so much.
One final question.
Good evening. Thanks a lot for your giving insight. There's a debate now going on. Feeling fit is not being fit. So there are two schools of thought going on here. So I thought the audience and myself would like to take your opinion.
What is it being?
Feeling fit is not necessarily being fit.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So what's happening is there is a school of thought that says, even if you're well, get yourself examined. And
yeah.
One school of
See,
thought
I
is
think this is about the fact about some diseases coming. Even a fit person can have certain disease, like even cancer. We see today, cancer of the colon is very high now, increasing in India between 40 to 50 years of age, actually 35 to 50 years of age. The other day in my clinic, I saw 4 patients in that age group with advanced colon cancer. So that doesn't mean they were not fit, they could be fit. So the genomics, the ecosystem, for example, we know there are certain things from the environment like herbicides, pesticides, lot of pollution, lot of things contribute to certain diseases. Why should a 26-year-old person develop head and neck cancer, which is a non-smoker, non-chewer? These are the enigma of cancer. Cancer is full of enigmas, and like any other diseases, even diabetes, why are youngsters getting? So I think only thing is we can do is to lead a good life in terms of fitness and what kind of diet. And I'm a proponent of vegetarianism, organic food, and not use anything where you have got certain hormone injection systems. And all of this does matter a lot. I did a study on dioxin in US, which was published on Vietnam veterans. When I was there, showing how little bit of dioxin can cause certain cancers by implanting. In women in India who may be normal, and women in India getting 1 out of 8 now getting breast cancer, like in US and all, in the 350 population, which is talking about the middle class, upper middle class I'm talking about. Why? Because when you check their breast tissue, go normal women, when you check, there's this dioxin similar type of drug implanted on them because of the type of food we eat. For example, you look at cauliflower, you look at even grapes. How much pesticides, herbicides to use? What are the effect of this? We are only beginning to scratch the surface. I think there are ways. You're absolutely right. Feeling fit doesn't mean that necessarily you will not get to certain diseases. But prevention, we always say, is better. But prevention is a difficult subject. It has not been really worked out well. In fact, with all the preventive efforts, cancer incidence is only increasing. But we begin to see early stage cancer, because cancer today is a chronic disease. Early stage you detect. We have now a system called CTC, circulating tumor cells. Through that, we can detect cancers. We have installed it now, where we can detect actual cells, now few cells, even 3-4 cancer cells, to know whether this person is likely to get cancer in the future or should be addressed. So there are a lot of things in cancer anomalies. Briefly, I've given you an answer. There is a very in-depth answer. I'm sorry, in the time I will not go into that. Okay.
Thank you very, very much, Dr. Ajay Kumar. Hardships can only harden an entrepreneur. That's what I learned from your speech. Hardships can only harden an entrepreneur. Path is more important than the goal. Really stuck my attention. Stick to your expertise is another important message that you gave. We are damn good as Indians. Yes, of course. Thank you very much for inspiring us, sir, with your wonderful, wonderful speech. A real motivation to all aspiring entrepreneurs. Yeah. I request TiE President, Mr. Sudhanva, to hand over a moment to Dr. Ajay Kumar as a token of our sincere gratitude and appreciation. Dr. Ajay Kumar, sir, may I request you to please come on the stage again. Sir, one more. Thank you very much, sir. We now move on to honor exemplary entrepreneurs of Mysuru, the pride of Mysuru, with Lifetime Achievement Awards. Mr. K.B. Ganapati, founder editor, Star of Mysuru and Mysuru Mitra. Mr. Abbas S. Wag, Managing Director, the Decorative Laminates India Private Limited, and Dr. B.R. Pai, Chairman and Managing Director, VWF Industries Private Limited. I request TiE Mysuru Charter Member, Mr. C.K. Sabarishan, to kindly take over and conduct the award ceremony. Mr. Sabarishan, sir, please.
Thank you, Prashant, and very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We have come to another highlight of this evening, felicitating some of the luminaries. I was fondly recollecting what Sudhanva said and also what Dr. Ajay Kumar said while setting up an entrepreneurship, the kind of rigmarole they had to go through. Take it from me, each one of them who are being facilitated today have gone through this over the last 35 to 40 years in Mysuru, when there was nothing called a startup ecosystem. In fact, the startup word itself was not there at that time. So this is what they have done. So it gives me a great pleasure. It's also a privilege and an honor for me to be chairing this session. I would like to first invite in alphabetical order, Mr. Abbas Wag to come over the stage. I would like to request Ashwini Rajgopal to escort him to the dais.
Thank you.
I request Charter Member Ashwini Rajgopal to introduce him to the august audience through a citation that will capture his life history. Ashwin, please.
Good evening, one and all, and welcome to TiECon Mysuru 2023. Mr. Abbas Salhebai Wag, Lifetime Achievement. We at TiE Mysuru, on the occasion of our flagship event TiECon 2023, are privileged to felicitate you for your lifetime of achievements. Born in Sidhpur, Gujarat, you relocated to Mysuru for your graduation in mechanical engineer in 1957. This was followed by a post-graduation in foundry metallurgy from the University of Wolverhampton in UK. After a brief stint as the chief engineer at Microtech Castings in Chennai, you started your journey into all things wood by stepping into head Mysuru Plywood Works. The entrepreneurial bug saw you set up decorative laminates, mass furniture, and many other related businesses in Mysore. Your professional career arc is multifaceted, and the industry at large has benefited from your guidance and expertise. You have earned the respect and recognition of your peers by having served as president of the South India Plywood Manufacturers Association, chairman of CII Mysuru Zone, and in leadership positions of many other professional organizations. You banded the industry together to form a consortium for the purchase of wood raw materials from Andaman and Burma. Another initiative of yours was to build a working relationship between industries in Karnataka and the northeast of India that saw you both sides benefit immensely. Your courage and conviction was profoundly demonstrated when you worked towards effective reforestation, which was critical to convincing all stakeholders about the sustainability of your business. Your farsightedness in promoting the theme Save Timber and Save Forest amongst wood industry in and around Mysuru brought about the manufacture of engineered plywood and furniture. This was aimed at promoting entrepreneurship, which, while inculcating ethical values to safeguard the environment. We at TiE Mysuru, many of whom are proud Mysoreans, deem it an honor to recognize you this Friday, the 14th of April, 2023, for your lifetime of achievements. Shri Abbas Wagh, you are an entrepreneur, a business pioneer, and a leader par excellence, who has built an institution that has immensely impacted Mysoreans and will last for generations to come. Thank you.
Well, yeah, that's a befitting honor, a standing ovation. Thank you all very much. May I now request President Sudanwa and all the board members of TiE Mysuru to please come on the dais to felicitate Shri Abbas Wagh. Acceptance. Acceptance.
Namaskar. Good evening to all of you. My good friend Sudunwa Dhananya, President, TiECon Mysuru 2023. The chairperson, TiTech Mysuru, Shri Nagarajan Srinivasan. Ever smiling Dr. Mahesh Rao, co-chairperson of TiECon Mysuru. The dignitaries on dais and dignitaries on the audience, my colleagues, budding entrepreneurs, my family members, invitees, ladies and gentlemen. It was a great pleasure that I have been honored for this occasion. I really feel very humble, and I thank you very much for giving me this honor. I only want to say in one word what Dr. Ajay Kumar has spoken. I have in my life followed the same principles what you have said. Very strict in seeing that job is done, what I feel has to be done. And irrespective of so many hurdles coming up, never to budge and seek shortcuts. See, the only lesson I have learned in my life is from my elders is to know how to spend money to earn money. Spend money is more important to learn than to earn money. And earning money is automatic. It comes subsequently from the knowledge what we have learned in our student life, and subsequently the experiences what we have gained during the course of our business affairs. Regarding that one particular aspect what Dr. Ajay spoke about bribery, I have to tell you one thing, that I started my life with foundry engineering and metallurgy, but I had to change it to wood industry because of the family programs. And when I took it over as a business, as a wood industry, there were number of challenges. And one of them was to sell our products in the competition in the market. And I found that a lot of underhand dealings were going on. And to overcome that, the only way I found was to adopt export. In the export, we have to go through the custom department where there is checking at every point and no hurdles coming because of the tax problems, because it is tax-free, and things became very interesting. That gave me opportunities to travel abroad and learn more and more and improve the business what I was doing. The concept in our mind was that any raw material what you use, which is a God-given raw material, wood is a raw material, metal is a raw material, which is coming from the mining. Whatever raw materials we use, we have to see that there is no wastage. And it is to be used in such a way that the quality product comes out. And with that concept, I have started my life and I found that it worked very well. And when I started working in that fashion, the amount of business which was coming in was so huge that my company could not handle it. So the opportunity come to me that I have to develop confidence among my good friends of South India Plywood Manufacturing Association and Federation of Indian Plywood Manufacturers. And to gain that confidence, I had to be myself a true and rightful person. Otherwise, to gain confidence of all was very difficult. That gave me an opportunity to learn more and started buying the raw materials in a consortia manner from all friends of plywood manufacturers together. And we have distributed our timber into various companies. And that was only because of the confidence we had developed between us. Subsequently, I found out the marketing. I was in the export trade, and my company being small was not able to meet the demand which I was getting it from Middle East countries. Again, the same principle was adopted. Confidence winning, we all joined together and with a consortia method, we were selling our products in the market. Our plywood, which was as Dr. Ajay Singh, told that anything which is made in India was difficult to be sold. Everybody thought that India, good, bad products. But with the quality what we were exporting, India's name in plywood became so famous that today all the countries in the world are asking for Indian products. With these smaller things which I have gained in my life, I only want to convey this information to the entrepreneurs that be very honest, work with your fully concentrated efforts on the products what you want to manufacture and produce, and see that it goes well. Thank you so much. I thank the organizer especially for honoring me like this, which I was never expecting. I thank you so much, every one of you. I will join.
Thank you so much, Boswak, for accepting our invitation. Next, I would like to invite Mr. Ganapati KB and request Manish Salian to escort him to the dais.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Ganapati Kalyatanda Bopaya, we at Mysuru, on the occasion of our flagship event, TiECon 2023, are privileged to felicitate you on your lifetime of achievements. Debuting as a lawyer in the High Court of Karnataka, you discovered a flair for journalism, which eventually became the foundation of your professional career. Beginning with the Free Press Journal, the Indian Express, and finally with Sunbeam Advertising in Mumbai. You found your life's mission in Mysore when you set up two local dailies, one eveninger in English and another morning paper in Kannada back in 1978. The Star of Mysore and Mysore Mitra now have become part of our daily diet for Mysoreans, along with their evening teas and morning coffees. Your editorial tagline, "We believe comments are free, but facts are sacred," should rightly be the standard today for all media, not only across India, but the whole world. Your unique style is reflected in some of your very prominent features carried by the star of Mysore. Editor's bottom line, abracadabra, and hocus pocus. Your unstinted commitment to enlightening Mysoreans, apart from reporting news as they happen across the country, allows your readers to introspect and make informed opinions that regularly share under the letters to the editor's column. Covering political developments with your well-crafted comments requires enormous courage and integrity, which you have demonstrated over the past 4 decades, thus earning the respect of your readers. Your multifaceted flair for writing brought out some very interesting publications over the years, some of which are Adarshwadi, a Kannada novel, America, Area of Light, a travelogue, The Cross and the Kooks, a novel on Kodagu, Gandhi's Epistle to Obama, a book on Barack Obama, and Shivaji's Kadga in Kannada. The many awards and recognitions that you have received over the years include the Karnataka State Rajyotsava Award, are a fitting tribute to your contributions to the world of journalism. Your insatiable desire to pursue facts for reporting and enlighten Mysoreans at the same time has made you a shining star cherished by the citizens of Mysuru. We at TiE Mysuru, many of whom are proud Mysoreans, deem it an honor to recognize you this Friday, the 14th of April, 2023, for your lifetime of achievements. Shri K.B. Ganapathy, you are a journalist, a novelist, a lawyer, and above all, an entrepreneur who has built an institution that is steadfast in reputation, serving the community and impacting the life of many of its stakeholders. Thank you.
Cup of water, please. Water. Cup of water, please.
Good evening, everybody. The function has been beautiful all through. I enjoyed being felicitated. Now I'm standing before you to deliver something which is most difficult for me. President of Mysuru chapter, Sudan Dhananjay, chairperson of TiE conference, Nagarajan Srinivas, the treasurer of TiE, Mahesh Rao, all the members of TiE Mysore chapter, all the invitees, ladies and gentlemen. Nothing should give a person more joy when somebody admires him. Maybe he gets flattered, unlike Caesar, who said, Caesar is never flattered, or rather, he is flattered when somebody tells Caesar, Caesar cannot be flattered. But we are ordinary human beings. When somebody says few good words about you, you feel nice. I felt very nice now, this evening. All the office bearers and members of the TiE, I owe you all a debt of gratitude for making me very happy this evening in front of these beautiful people here. Well, honestly, I'm not a very big industrialist, but I know comparison is odious, like you cannot compare your child with another child. But all the same, TiE has made me realize I'm somebody in Mysuru. There are flowers. There are elephants. Some flowers have fragrance. Elephants have strength. Rabindranath Tagore once said, flowers do not know the fragrance within. So also the elephant, the strength it has. I have been like these flowers and the elephant. That awareness TiE has put in me this evening. I'm a great beneficiary of this evening's happenings, more so because I could hear Dr. Ajay Kumar. I have had the privilege of reviewing his book, Beyond the Excellencies Beyond Borders. Indeed, the title was good, but unrelated to medical science, I think. You spoke about, Dr. Ajay, about multiplicity of hospitals, or multiple hospitals, or polyclinic-like, where you have more than one discipline or one kind of disease being treated. What you said is 100% correct, because in sports, they always talk about functioning fitness. It simply means that if you are a sprinter, then you focus on that. And if you think you can expand your area of sports by trying 400 meters or 800 meters, then you cannot attain excellence in one of these. So to that extent, your efficiency in your sprint, where you are very good, gets diminished. So also in medical science, I think, in a hospital where there is multidisciplinary activity, then I think the quality gets by and by diluted. Well, I am a newspaper man, and TiE has considered me as an achiever. But I would rather call myself a successful entrepreneur rather than a great achiever. Newspaper is a product, also is a service. Money cannot only be the sole aim and goal of running a newspaper. We must also consider it as a service to the society, the community. It is my sense that I have been following this goal of running a newspaper business. Of course, honesty also was being mentioned by my friend Abbas and also Dr. Vijay. Honesty, yes, is said to be the best policy. But sometimes you may have to, in an existential life, circumvent that ideology. It's sometimes life, not only here, because we have the example of Spiro Agnew, I think it was Vice President of America, where the Manila envelope is put right on the table of the Vice President. Ajay will watch for it. It is life, by my experiences, is like dealing with gold. Gold is good by itself, yes. But if you want to make a jewelry out of it, then you have to add some copper to make it stable and steady. So also there is nothing like an ideal society anywhere in the world. But at the same time, it doesn't mean you have to compromise with what is not ethical, what is not moral, what is not good. You must have a Lakshmana Rekha at that point. I remember Dr. C. Raman of Raman Institute of Science, when he advertised for a post of a postgraduate scholarship, and one, I think, Professor Chandrasekhar from Mysuru University applied for the job. The advertisement, it was said that your TA, traveling expenses, will be given to you. So after the interview, this Professor Chandrasekhar, I think it is his name. After the interview, he was given the inside a cover, his traveling expenses, which he mentioned what it was. It was those days, it was about 20 rupees or so. Even it was actually, he said, my traveling expense from Mysuru to Bangalore was 6 rupees 50 paise. Then he was given a cover, he took the cover and he was going out of the campus. Then Dr. C.V. Raman was also there, and he recognized this youngster, said, why are you going back? Because Professor Chandrasekhar did not go out of the premises. He was again going back to the office. Then C. Raman asked him, why are you going back? Just like Kovadis, where Christ was asked. St. Peter was, when he was running away from Rome, the Christ was asking, where are you going? Like that. So he asked him, where you are going? He said, I am going to the cashier. Why? He said, he has given me more money than I had spent. Raman was surprised. He said, come, I will also come with you to the cashier. But instead of Raman taking him to the cashier, he took him to his chamber, said, you are selected. That is where it is an example where we can say honesty pays. So it is good to be honest. And as far as entrepreneurship is concerned, it needs courage, leadership, ability to lead. Some people lead from their intellect. Some people lead from their heart. Some people lead from their boot. But by and large, my experience says, big experience, to my level, my experience is, if you lead, because entrepreneurship always is a matter of teamwork, and the team leads the leader. And what kind of a leader he should be to make that enterprise succeed. That is where the leadership quality comes. So if you lead from the heart, the response from your team would be really good. And again, you made many interesting points for management people to learn. Dale Carnegie says in one of his essays, it is the quality of a mediocre person. It is the quality of a mediocre person to recognize a genius and then suppress it because of ego. But a real leader will recognize a genius and reward him. If Infosys is today what it is, in my opinion, it is because R.N. Narayan Murthy led the company as a leader, keeping these ideas in the forefront. So, friends, I don't want to take much time on that. We can go on and on. I can give you some examples also of how a leader should be. What is leadership? How you face the challenges. But this is not a time now. My friend is waiting to be honored just as I am honored. I once again thank every one of you. God bless. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ganpati. Now I have the pleasure of inviting Dr. B.R. Pai and would request Colonel Ravi to kindly escort him to the dais.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Brahmava Raghunath Pai, Lifetime Achievement. We at TiECon, on the occasion of our flagship event, TiECon 2023, are privileged to facilitate you for your lifetime of achievement. As a first generation entrepreneur, you braved the license Raj of 1978 and set up Vijay Wires and Filaments Private Limited to manufacture tungsten and polyethylene products for the lighting industry. What began in a car garage is today a diversified group, and at its peak, exported 60% of your product to 20 countries around the world. You inspired other industrialists also to set up similar industries, making Mysore the hub of tungsten and polyethylene production in India for many decades. While you began your professional career as a mechanical engineer from National Institute of Engineers, Mysore, with a post-graduation in operation and management, you found your passion in health and wellness. What followed was a formal postgraduate diploma and then a doctorate honors in health and wellness management. Indeed, a testament to your spirit of constant learning. From total quality management in your industry, you pioneered the concept of total wellness management well ahead of its time. Your business success was followed by professional recognition, be it as a member of the Executive Council of VTU Karnataka or your initiative to bring CII to Mysore and be the first chairman of the Mysore zone. You have made a significant difference to the organization to which you have dedicated time. They include key roles at Mysore Agenda Task Force, University of Mysore. Your love for sharing knowledge has meant speaking stint at the prestigious Asian Institute of Management, Manila, Philippines. Articles in professional journals and a monograph on total wellness management. You have distinguished yourself in diverse roles encompassing civic, social, and philanthropic pursuits. Rotary International, Vivekananda Kendra Bangalore, or Prasanna Trust Bangalore are a few organizations that have benefited from your largesse of heart. Vijay Foundation is your capstone endeavor, formed out of the passion of your late wife, Jayanti, an organization that focuses on bringing light to life, life to light. We at TiECon, many of who are proud Mysoreans, deem it an honor to recognize you this Friday, the 14th of April, 2023, for your lifetime of achievements. Dr. Brahmava Raghunath Pai, you're an entrepreneur, wellness crusader, and a philanthropist par excellence, who has built an institution that is serving the community at large and impacting the lives of many of its stakeholders. Thank you very much, sir. We are very honored today.
Request President and board members to do the felicitation, please.
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಶುಭ ಸಂಜೆ. Good evening to everyone. Mr. Sudanwa and team requested me to come here today to give something which I never thought earlier. This kind of interesting thing will be here. I would like to tell a few points which made me talk how I became an entrepreneur, from what stage. I think that I thank TI members, TI members, the bottom of my heart, bestowing me this full-time achievement award. It is my proud privilege and honor amongst all the successful entrepreneurs. Looking at you, I feel very young and even think of starting a new project. Of course, my age does not permit me. At this juncture, my mind goes to 1978. How now I am 84 years young. At that time, I started my activities in a garage. And my safe refresher, I came out of an employment with J Electric, where due to some conflict with my colleague, whom I always remember for today's success. Whenever there is any problem, there is a whole scope for to come up. That happens, and my wife used to say that I should garland such people who kindled my fire in my belly to start this company. I also thank at that time, there was no bank balance. I needed to my family, and my children were very young, going to school, and the knowledge of starting a new unit out of question. What I was having is a strong willpower to start something on my own with my wife's full support, which stood with me in endeavor. She also sacrificed all her jewels and also helped me to gather support my relatives too. I started my office in a garage. I still remember, in a small garage, I started my activities, and at Gokulam, and support all that grow up now as a 7 companies. Those days were different from the present. Today, we have all the information at our fingertips. Google is there for you. Many government schemes are there, many years applications, and they help you to find out, analyze your plans. That you need to have courage and forward. Of course, in the beginning, you must assume all the officers' roles yourself. You yourself is the boss, your assistant, your other people, all the people. Now you have 8, 9 people, you are doing yourself everything. That is the quality of an entrepreneur. But hard work and the right plans will enable you to fulfill your dreams. I will not take much time since there are other things to be done. I wish all of you from the bottom of my heart success in all endeavors. Create wealth without losing health. I would like to repeat, this is my pet subject. Create health without losing create wealth without losing your health. And this is my real message. Thank you once again, Mr. Sudanwa and their team, for honoring me this award. Thank you very much.